I am Mahit Khan and I'm from India. I've shifted to Dubai recently and I basically have been working with on neuro-linguistic program for the last couple of years now, approximately 2.5 years. Before that, I have got a 16 years of experience in learning and development, working on capacity building, on skill building, more on the behavioral side than anything else. And I used to do selling skills and everything, but what I used to enjoy more is personal development. So, which actually is the bigger picture, just coming down to one, because I always believe that, if you do not go and treat the root problem, the symptoms will go away for a couple of minutes or a couple of days or a couple of weeks, but it'll come back again. So you teach somebody selling skills, but if the person's attitude and behavior is not, prevalent to understanding that and to taking it in and to bringing it out again and again and again, it's pointless. So that made me go more and more into behavior, understanding people's behavior. I did a couple of certifications and it got very interesting knowing the different types of behavior that people have, how that behavior is developed, how the different things that we include in our life that becomes a belief system that comes out as our values. From where does this actually happen? Because if I go ahead and I just tell you that, your belief system is wrong and you need to change that, or why do you believe in this? You should believe in this, or question your belief. But if I do not give you the reason for why I'm questioning your belief, I'm leaving something very important out of it. So that made me go into NLP, where I learned everything that I could about how to actually go ahead and understand how the mind works, because it is all about the mind, whether it is our behavior, whether it is our attitude, our performance, our results, our relationships, even for that matter, our moods. Everything is related to our own brain and how the brain how it performs, how it understands, how it takes in the information which is in and around us. Our majority of the times, the root of all our problems is we ourselves. It is only us who's responsible for everything that happens in our life. It's only us that is responsible for making any changes that we want in our life. If we want to say that I'm waiting for this to happen, well, that's me putting it off. Nothing else. It's just me putting it off. So this is something which I'm taking up to people when I do coaching with them, when I'm doing mindset coaching with them. This is up when I talk to students, which starts with understanding the mindset that is needed for growth. I mean, if I want to teach them any skills, and if I do not tell them the purpose why they should have these skills, it's pointless. Because if they do not believe in it, they are just going to learn it for today. Probably they may have some aha moments, but that's not going to carry forward. So they have to want to bring those belief system in their own life. And for that, they need to very well understand the purpose behind why we are doing whatever we are doing in life. Yeah. So that's the entire background of the kind of work, the purpose behind my work that I'm doing today. So I believe in creating more of mindset change. I believe that for any change to happen, the work has to start with the mind, and then we divide the mind, as we all know that there's this conscious mind and there's the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is exactly telling me what I need to speak to you today, and the subconscious mind is making all the information available for me, which is stored from years of experience and information and learning and everything. So the understanding between how the connection happens between the conscious and the subconscious is exactly how we are going to control any feeling, any behavior, any activity, any thought, anything that we want in our life. It's a very simple thing. It's like our words, they trigger our thoughts. Our thoughts, they trigger our feelings, and our feelings are what exactly control our actions. If we are feeling sad, you will see the actions accordingly. If we are feeling happy, you will see the actions accordingly. If you are feeling confident, you will see the actions accordingly. And if you're not feeling confident, where the fear comes in from. The beginning of every fear is the lack of confidence. The lack of confidence is from the thought that I'll not be able to do it. The thought is because I just said that I'll not be able to do it. It's very, very simple. It's just being aware about the words which are coming out of our mouths. And that awareness is something which we are so ignorant about. when we use words, we do not know the power that those words have on our own self. Forget about anybody else. Yes, they have the power to hurt, to influence, to demotivate, everything that you want like to add to it. But more than that, they have the power to influence our own self, our own thoughts, our own actions. So today, the topic that I would like to speak about is the fear of public speaking, which I believe more than 70 to 80% that I have spoken to have come up with this generic fear which everybody faces. I was one of them too. I was one of the crowd too. I was one who was very, very scared of public speaking. And I did not go through any therapy to get out of it. What I did was completely the words that I was saying to myself, that everybody's going to laugh at me, that what are people going to think about me, what I'll not be able to do it, I'm shaking in my boots, and everything that was negative, which I was saying to myself, I just stopped it. There was no realization as such. It was more of a challenge that I have to do it. A challenge which I gave to my own self. I have to do it. I can't sit at the back seat for all my life. I have to come up and I have to speak and I have to do it. So be it what people think. Words which actually gave me the confidence to stand up and speak, which was lacking before that time, because every time that I used to think of public speaking, I used to see myself, I used to have these images of myself being scared, shaking on the stage, missing out my words, being absolutely clamped up, not being able to speak. So I was giving myself all the commands to keep shut and to keep on feeding this fear. Naturally, every human being is born with only two fears. One is the fear of loud noises, and the other is the fear of falling. Apart from this, we do not have any fear which is there in our ecosystem, in our own self, in our brains. Every other fear, whether it is fear of public speaking, whether it is fear of going out and meeting people, whether it is fear of doing something which we've never done before, whether it is hydrophobia, whether it is the fear of heights, whether it is the fear of darkness, with whatever fear you would like to call it, each and every fear is manufactured. We are the creators of all the fears that we face in our life. It's very interesting when we go deep down and understand why did we start having that fear. I mean, I have people in my sessions who told me that they fear spiders. And I said, okay, what was the experience which made you fear spiders? And they said, no, we've never had an experience. I said, so where did the fear come from? He said, I was watching a video on National Geographic and I saw these tarantula spiders and they were very big and they were very creepy. And it was like, I watched the whole program and I was like, wow, I'm very, very scared of this. I mean, this was creepy. This was scary. They are so scary. And after that, it was like, he used to see a small spider in his house. And I'm talking about a 40-year-old person. I mean, he used to see a small spider in his house and he was like, that's a spider. And I'm like, okay, did that spider come on your hand? No. So did that spider crawl on your skin? No. Did you ever touch a spider? No. Did you ever have a spider come and bite you? No. So where did the fear come from? The fear was his own commands, which he gave himself while watching a program on the television, that I fear spiders. And this is how we create all our fears. I had an experience when I was little, three experiences where I had actually drowning experiences. So yes, I was very scared of I used to walk on the beach and feel scared that I'm going to be drowned. Getting in the water was absolutely out of the question. It was something which kept me away from the water for almost more than a decade. And then the moment when I made the decision to go into the water was my own decision when I said, I'm going to do it. It is very, very simple. I created my own fear and I decided to take it out of my life. So when we say fear of public speaking, when we say fear of public speaking, we see ourselves in front of so many people who are looking at us. And the day before yesterday, one of the students came up to me and she said, ma'am, I see these people looking at me and judging me and making decisions about myself, about me, and trying to make fun of me. And I said, okay, where did you get all this from? All this information? Who gave it to you? Did you get a written record about your experience after you had you gave a public speak, or you gave a speech, or you were in a competition? Who gave you all these details and data that you are not good and you are being judged and people are judging you on how good you are and how bad you are and what crap you're speaking and what good things you're saying? And according to her, she could not say anything good because that's what people are thinking about her. And all this was creation of her own imagination. Every single thing was a creation of her own imagination. So how do you solve an imaginary problem? Oh, well, it's very simple. You just need to give an imaginary solution. So I just put her into a trance and I just made her go into her imagination, stand in front of the stage. And then, yeah, she's like, yes, ma'am, everybody's looking at me with big eyes and everything. I said, great. Now let's create those eyes as, you remember the movie Mask? She said, yes, ma'am. I said, wow, do you remember Jim Carrey's eyes? She said, yes, ma'am. I said, great. Now look at the audience and everybody's got Jim Carrey's eyes. And she started laughing. I said, now see those eyes getting bigger and they're popping out of their head. And she was laughing hilariously. And she's like, ma'am, this is so funny. I said, then why were you scared about it if it was so funny? And she's like, ma'am, yeah, I can't understand why I was scared of this. It's like, okay, now come back again. I brought her out of the trance. And I again told her, now stand in front of the stage and see yourself speaking. And she was again clamped up. I said, all right, now listen, just remember, Jim Carrey's eyes. And there was a smile on her face. And I said, and now tell me, what do you see in front of you? And she said, people who are listening to me and they're smiling. I said, great. So now that they're smiling, do you think they're interested to listen to you? And she said, yeah, of course they are. I said, then go ahead, make them smile some more. You just need to change the feelings. And all that is needed to change the feelings is words. We are ignorant of the power of words. But if we can just use the power of words, every feeling can be changed. Once you change the feelings associated with words, you will have no fear. I know people will say it's not so easy. Well, thank you for saying that because you've again just given yourself a command that it's not so easy, it cannot be done. So maybe it cannot be done for you. But I have got my clients and I have got cases where I've done this in just 20 minutes. It's just taken out of the system because you understand that I created all this in my imagination. So it's common sense. If I can create something, I can create something better. So you just create something better.
That's actually very nice, Nahi. Sorry, I'm jumping off to the questions before anybody else. But my little interest over here is that you said there are only two types of fear.
Natural fears.
Natural fears. And it does not include fear for darkness.
Nothing. That's all ourselves. I can tell this to you with an example that my son has never been scared of darkness, ever. I mean, right from the very age of 6 months old, he's been sleeping in a dark room with us. Today, he's 5.5. He can walk inside a dark room without any fear. He goes inside, he switches on the light, whatever he wants to do, he does it. There is no, if somebody tells him it's a dark room, he's like, Mama, and I'm like, yeah, go ahead, baby, no problem. Because I never gave him the word that don't go there, it's dark. Ever in my life did I ever do that with him. That don't go out, it's dark. Don't go there, it's dark. If it was dark, I always used to give him a torch. And I was like, okay, baby, you may not be able to see, so carry this torch with you. That's all I did. So we are the ones who's responsible for this fear of darkness. Why do we have this fear of darkness? Because we tell ourselves it's dark out there. So there'll be creepy things. I had another client who had come with me for cure of fear of darkness. So I was like, okay, so it was very interesting to listen to the person's imagination because they had so many things happening in the dark. And then my questions were, so what touched you? And she's like, nothing. I said, what grabbed you? She said, nothing. I said, what did you see? She said, nothing. Everything was in her imagination related with darkness. So I just made it a game of Tom and Jerry for her with the darkness. So just change the feelings, change the thing, gave her a new imagination, gave her a new picture with darkness. It's gone. There's nothing related to darkness anymore with her. Can't hear you.
Sorry, I was talking on mute. So there are a lot of experts out here who are child psychologists who have been working with children for a long time and even with parents per se. And I think we have people like Vinod sir, who has been into the leadership journey of, developing the successful CEOs kind of people. Uh, I think what I'm just trying to understand is that how this fear of public speaking comes into the child's mind. And of course, others can definitely contribute and support on that, whatever.
Majority of the answers that I've got from students when I ask them why did they have this fear, the first thing, the most common answer which I got was that, ma'am, I was always pushed to speak. I was always asked by my parents, come and speak, we'd like to hear you speak. So why don't you tell this? Why don't you say that? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And then everybody used to clap. It's a very good thing. We are trying to bring out bring our child out and then give appreciation in that. But in that case, in some cases, the child, when they are looking at people and somebody does not clap, they get this thing that I'm not being appreciated. And humans have a very common tendency of, if there are 10 things positive and one thing negative, the positives become very small in size, they diminish like anything, and the negative becomes magnified. So what I remember is not what everybody was clapping. What I remember is this person was looking at me with scorn or with a kind of judging kind of a thing. And there are a lot of times when we as parents, without realizing, we say more on, because we want the child to develop, we want the child to, get better. Instead of using positive words to propel development, we use criticism. You did not do this good. You did not do this right. You did not say this right. You did not say this perfectly. This starts that journey or the creation of what we say is scarcity in the mind of a child. So this scarcity mindset, which we start, keeps growing every time the child is meeting or experiencing something new in life. And this scarcity mindset is what actually eventually leads into developing a fear or anything as such. Any negative belief that a child has starts with the scarcity mindset, which we as parents, we create. We start the creation of it. It's either we as parents and most of the time teachers, because we've heard a lot of cases where the teachers, they say, like, you're not good at drawing. You're not good at maths, you're very weak in this subject, you need to start working in this. I mean, the intent is absolutely right, because the teacher wants the child to develop, but the approach is creating a scarcity mindset. And not everybody has it within them to deal with a scarcity mindset and take it up as a challenge. Usually people get the urge of, when they are put in a scarcity mindset, to back off. And that is when the problems start initiating, because the moment once they back off, the next time it's very easy for them to back off 4 more steps. So they keep going back, and that's when the confidence keeps on getting down and the fear keeps on coming up. And they don't speak about it because, again, they are scared of if there are 10 things positive and one thing negative, the positives become very small in size, they diminish like anything, and the negative becomes magnified. So what I remember is not what everybody was clapping. What I remember is this person was looking at me with scorn or with a kind of judging kind of a thing. And there are a lot of times when we as parents, without realizing, we say more on, because we want the child to develop, we want the child to, get better. Instead of using positive words to propel development, we use criticism. You did not do this good. You did not do this right. You did not say this right. You did not say this perfectly. This starts that journey or the creation of what we say is scarcity in the mind of a child. So this scarcity mindset, which we start, keeps growing every time the child is meeting or experiencing something new in life. And this scarcity mindset is what actually eventually leads into developing a fear or anything as such. Any negative belief that a child has starts with the scarcity mindset, which we as parents, we create. We start the creation of it. It's either we as parents and most of the time teachers, because we've We've heard a lot of cases where the teachers, they say, like, you're not good at drawing. You're not good at maths. You're very weak in this subject. You need to start working in this. I mean, the intent is absolutely right because the teacher wants the child to develop. But the approach is creating a scarcity mindset. And not everybody has it within them to deal with a scarcity mindset and take it up as a challenge. Usually people get the urge of when they are put in a scarcity mindset to back off. And that is when the problems start initiating, because the moment once they back off, the next time it's very easy for them to back off 4 more steps. So they keep going back, and that's when the confidence keeps on getting down and the fear keeps on coming up. And they don't speak about it because, again, they are scared of being judged. So they will not speak about it, and that keeps on magnifying and magnifying to an extent where they just go away and shy away and sit quiet in a corner. Because the bottom line is, again, if we go deep down into it, even our education system is responsible for this to some extent. Because what our education system does is, there is always a right answer to the question. There is nothing to which comes out and tries to understand the learning. It is always about what is the right answer. So if you do not have right answers, you're not getting the scores. So if you're not getting the scores, you're weak in your studies. So scarcity mindset again starts from the schooling system also. So when we start doing comparisons, when we start giving those scores, which actually is basically nothing but comparison. So it's comparing how good you are with how weak you are. So you're not good, you're weak. You're not good, you're weak. That keeps on developing the scarcity mindset in the child. So a lot of factors. We actually have to look at a lot of things. It's just the parenting, it's the schooling system, the teachers, the words that the teachers use. Very, very simple words that the teachers use, which can actually have a great impact on the child's mindset. You're not good at drawing can actually take it forward to such an extent that the person can never ever believe that they can actually draw a good picture, when it is just absolutely untrue. You can do whatever you want. You may not be best at it. You may not become a Michelangelo or a Van Gogh, but it's nobody in this world can say that you're not good at drawing. You may draw, you may have your own forte of drawing different types of pictures. It can be imaginary, it can be scientific, it can be something else, it can be anything. It's not necessary that it has to be the one that I think will make you good.
I totally agree with Nahid. I think everything she's saying is so true, so profound. Belief system. So I think we as parents and teachers need to understand what is this belief system and how it gets created. And one small little word or small little thing said to a child when he was small has an impact throughout his life. And what she's saying just now, Sadhguru says that you are nobody. You have no authority to tell a child that you can't do this. Who are you to tell him? Are you smarter than him? He says, no. The only qualification you have, is that in the race of coming to this world, you won the race. You came earlier than him.
So I'd like to add
That's the only qualification.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
So I said, so that's the only, you can't tell a child you're not good. And I have known of a gentleman, at 40 years, he started wondering why he hates his father. And he went and took some help to find out that I hate my father, but I don't know what wrong my father has done, and I must get to the roots of it. And when they got into the roots of it, it was that when he was a small child and he was to be admitted in school, his mother was a school teacher. So the admissions and all were done, and next day, now it's the first day that this child has to go to the school with his bag and books and all that. So the mother of the child told the father that you drop him at school because my school starts at 7 and I'll go earlier. Drop him in school and then go to your office, which suited everything. But when he dropped the child at the school, took him out of the car, the child started crying and said, I don't want to go to school. Now the father was in a dilemma. He can't take her home because the wife is not there. Home is locked. He can't take him to the office. What do you do? And he had a meeting. So he was worried about the meeting. He gave him a slap and said, shut up and go in. And that one shut up and go in cost him his life.
using the device or
He says
audio.
he never understood why he hated his father, but this was that one incident that made him hate his father all his life. Because the feeling he got was, I am not loved. And Tony Robbins says there are two fears a person is born with. They are the two which I know physically are the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. But what Tony Robbins refers to are the fear that I'm not good enough and the fear that I'm not loved enough. These are the two fears we just have when we are born. Rest we acquire.
These are the two fears which we develop, sir, Brigadier Basim. These are the two fears which we, as you just spoke about this incident created this fear in the person. Because when a child is born, if you see a 3 months old or 4 months old child, if you drop an object, there's just a loud noise and you see the child react. If you put him up, if you throw him up, you see the child starts crying. Other than that, if you do anything, because they don't understand, when we are born, we are only born with these two natural fears. Rest, everything we create. Like you just said about this child's experience. I'll tell you, my child, we just moved country. So, it's like a complete new environment, a complete new place. He started going to school. And I can understand he's going through separation anxiety. And it's very true because everybody is new. All the faces are new. He was in a different school in India. He was accustomed. He was comfortable there. I brought him out of the comfort zone and I put him here. He does not know anybody in his class. So he went for a couple of days, and now for the last 1 month, I've been struggling with him. He's like, I don't want to go to school. Whereas his school is amazing. He loves going to school. When he's inside the school, after 10-15 minutes, he's fine and he loves it. When I go to pick him up, it's a different, boy that I see out there when I drop him. What I did was I got talking to him and I tried to understand. So he gives me a reason that, Mama, I miss you. And I can understand that because, as I just said, that he's going through separation anxiety. So, what I did was I said, that's an amazing thing, baby, because if you miss me, that means you love me. You don't miss a person that you don't love, right? I also miss you a lot because I love you a lot. So now when he goes to school, his father goes to drop him and he's like, Daddy, I really am going to miss you. And then he looks at, my husband looks at him and the next moment he says, but that's a very good thing. That means I love you. So it's how we associate words with feelings. So I associated the whole thing of missing with actually being a very good thing. It's a very positive thing because it means that you love me and I love you. So today, if anybody says that you're going to miss your mother, he's like, yeah, that's because I love her. It's something which he'll never be able to fear this, that, his mother or his father is not going to be there with him because he's like, I'm going to miss them because I love them. Even if I have to travel for work, he's fine because he's like, I'll miss you because I love you a lot. It's how you associate.
You talked of the spider. Experiments have been done where a spider comes on a child and goes all over his skin, and the child is never scared till he was told that there's something wrong.
Absolutely. So we had these sessions when I was training with Dr. Bandler. So Dr. Bandler used to bring these tarantulas out, and we had a python, a 10-feet python, which was brought out on the stage for people who had a fear of snakes. And he used to do his stuff for 10 minutes and then bring out a snake, and the person who was always like from the beginning of the training program till the day the snakes were actually brought out was every day we were told that the snakes are coming, the snakes are coming, the snakes are coming. So the fear was absolutely built to a hilt. And there was one of my co-classmates, like she was very scared of snakes. So it's like every day, the moment Dr. Bandler used to say that the snakes are coming, she used to just lift her legs like this. Are they here? It was like this. Every day it was the same. And she was the one who was actually called on stage because we all put her name that we want her to get rid of this fear. And when Dr. Bandler did his stuff, we spoke to her for 10 minutes. Post that the python came, she was carrying the python on her shoulder.
Oh.
Yeah, this happens within 15 minutes. This happens within a matter of 15 minutes. And people who have been scared their whole life of things. I mean, there was a lady, she used to love playing music. But her mother, when she was young and she wanted to pursue music, her mother said that music is sin. as per, she put the Christian ideology, and she said it's sin. So Jesus won't love you if you love music. So she gave up music, and then that carried to such an extent that she was not doing anything in her life because she wanted to play music, but music was sin. And she used to fear it. And then she was given a pipe piper and a more of like a saxophone it was, and she was made to sit on the stage, 10 minutes of talk, and there's just words. And she was playing amazing music. She had it within. It's just that because of the fear, she just